think I've done it. And don't get me wrong, I think I've cracked the code. Why do all these companies focus on MMPR? Like, we all know that there is a meaning behind it, but I think, and I may have cracked the main code for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I think I've done it. So stick around because we're going to be talking about it. In the 90s, Power Rangers was a big hit. I generally think that we will never see anything like that at all. And I think Power Rangers was the last time that people would fill out the streets, stop highways, absolutely, completely fill out theme parks. I generally don't think we will see anything like that whatsoever, and that's fine. Power Rangers started a trend and they kind of finished that trend right there. We then jump into the Disney era and it slowly starts from there. But I think the main thing that we need to look at is in 2013 when the Legacy line kind of like came along, because that was when Bandai of America kind of mainly started focusing on MMPR. Roughly around that time, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit after, but when the Legacy line dropped, everything was Mighty Morphin. We had more figures of Mighty Morphin. We had the entire Legacy line, from the role-playing weapons to mostly some of the figures. Everything seemed to kind of generate it. We saw it in Samurai as well, because the intro at the time was just, hey, here is a redo of Mighty Morphin, and they kind of carried that on for a while.
Alpha, Reader's Escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Samurai forever! Jaden! Mia! Mike! Kevin! Emily! Antonio! Go, go, Power Rangers! Troy! Gia! Noah! Emma! Jake! Rangers forever! Go, go, Power Rangers! Troy! Go, go, Power Rangers! Emma! Rangers forever! Noah! Jake!
It's been a major big ride, but I think one of the biggest things at the moment is when Hasbro, oh that cheeky Hasbro, turned around and started to give the license out to pretty much anyone. You wanted the PR license, yeah, apply for it. You could probably make anything from MMPR all the way now up to Cosmic Fury. You could choose what you wanted. But this is where I'm going to crack the code. Before we jump into that part, we know that one of the biggest cash cows, one of the biggest things that sells is Tommy. It always has, and regardless of everyone who says, oh no, Tommy stuff would have sold out everything because people love that Ranger. They want to buy all the stuff that literally has his face on it, is part of him, whatever. That is always going to be the case, and I feel like that is going to be the case until the end of time. Can you imagine, as time is about to finish, people are like, I'm still selling my Tommy merch? We know it's there. We know it's there. The thing that it kind of brings in this is it oversaturates the entire market. It is just it gets boring. Like, how much Mighty Morphin stuff? Now, back in the old days, it would have been fantastic. There's not that much Mighty Morphin stuff, so people will buy it and etc, etc. But now it's just oversaturated. Lightning Collection figures, there is so much Mighty Morphin, and it will keep coming because it's the main seller. This is the one thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is no hate to Boom Studios because I do generally think that their line of their comics is actually quite interesting and has given us some amazing stories. But just quite recently, as the time of this recording, they put up on their kind of Kickstarter, they wanted to do the Power Rangers Return, which is mainly a story written by Amy Jo Johnson and her boyfriend that have kind of completely turned the tables on Mighty Morphin. And basically it's like, hey, what happens if Kimberly stayed and she got with Tommy and they got married? and so on and so on. Interesting story because it's completely different, and I kind of want to see how it kind of like turns out. But again, it's a Mighty Morphin product. January 13th, 2016, that's when issue 0 of Boom Studios Power Rangers came out, and it's kind of mainly just focused on like MMPR all the way through. There's been some kind of things where you've had like collabs or you've had cameos from other Rangers, and as we're going into the Darkest Night era, we're just literally getting cameos from pretty much every single Ranger. And again, we've never really kind of shifted focus mainly, but maybe like 1 or 2 issues which doesn't focus on MMPR. But yeah, that's literally kind of a rough catch up on that one. Because of this new Kickstarter, it got me thinking about this, and seeing people's reactions talking about this made me really think of how I've cracked this code. I generally think that these companies are lazy, and I'm not just saying it as, oh my god, like all of this is shit, because no, there's been some really good things that have come out from it, but it's the safest bet. It's the safest thing that you can make. And I know this will ruffle feathers, but literally think about it. A company turns around and they take the license from Hasbro, and what do? Mighty Morphing. Now, the products may come out looking fantastic, and I have seen some fantastic stuff, but deep down, it's a safe bet. And it really infuriates me thinking that you have 30 years of stuff that you could do. You have Megazords that people love. When I see statues of like, oh, it's just the MMPR Megazord, could you imagine if it was SPD, Mystic Force, hell, even Operation Overdrive? These models and stuff look fantastic. When it comes to the comic books, I've really enjoyed some of the stories, but some of them have been really lame. And again, they just go back to Mighty Morphing because that's how it sells. Look at the Lightning Collection, and at the moment, all of this sort of stuff is just Mighty Morphing. The last time I counted, there was roughly around about over 50 items that was just Mighty Morphing alone, and it gets boring. It's the thing, like, look at the kind of collab that, this is not in script by the way, but look at the collab that they did with Cobra Kai, Ninjetti, Mighty Morphing, and when I just kind of see this, I'm just like, why? Could you imagine if the Lightning Collection moved away from Mighty Morphing, produced Mystic Force? Or like if Boom Studios turned around and said, hey guys, we're going to be making another run of comics that is just SPD, or Mystic Force, or Wild Force, or anything that's a lot different. But no, these companies just fall back on what sells. The fandom will buy most of it because it's their favorite season or it's the best thing that they have seen, but it doesn't expand it. When most of the fandom's like, no, we want something new. One thing that I found, and again, this is not in my script, but one thing that I absolutely loved is when the Legacy line turned around and finished and went straight into Zeo. Zeonizers, the gold communicator, technically Mighty Morphing. But then you had like the Gold Ranger Zeonizers, you had the Gold Zeo Power Staff. I absolutely loved that and was so happy that we were moving into Zeo and we weren't focusing on Mighty Morphing. And then obviously the line got to Hasbro and we saw this, like we saw the entire line go back to what was safe, Mighty Morphing. Boom Studios are just putting out Mighty Morphing stuff because they know it's going to sell. Now they have, as I said, they have made some fantastic stuff. But again, it's getting boring now. You know, I don't want to see the what ifs. I want them to move on to another season. Hell, I would probably go with Turbo. As much as I hate Turbo, I would probably go for something like that because it's new, it's fresh, it's something a lot different. Or go for a season much further in. I would absolutely love Dino Thunder. I would very much like Mystic Force because again, these have not really had much love at all. But yeah, I just feel like companies just focus on what they think is going to sell and it just oversaturates the market completely to the point where it's just like, oh, I'm not going to buy that because I don't want to have another Mighty Morphing Megazord or another version of Tommy playing the Dragon Dagger or Jason with his Power Sword. You know, I want something a little bit different and I'm just sick and tired of these companies just playing it safe. Now, we've all pretty much put this down to nostalgia. Hey, guess what? Like, you know, it's like tapping into that nostalgia thing because people love it. How much can you really go down? Like literally think about it. How many times can you turn around and go, oh my god, this is absolutely fantastic. I haven't got enough Mighty Morphing Power Rangers merch and I need more. Like, it just baffles me. But when you move past the nostalgia and stuff like that, you just generally think it's just pure laziness. Hey, slap on a Mighty Morphing sticker and people are going to enjoy it. That's literally what I see this as. You have the entire brand has got 30 years worth of stuff right now. 30 goddamn years that you could pull from. You have so many avenues that you could go down. Why not look at them? Why not sit down with a team and go, okay, let's look at the series, let's watch it all, let's take the big elements, or even just Google it. Like, I'm sure there are websites out there that will literally tell you everything about Power Rangers in general that you can go, oh yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I kind of want that. With this new Kickstarter project, it's brought out what people have said. They don't want this. They want other teams. And I feel I'm in the same boat. Like, I'll read this because the story has me interested, because it's not the Mighty Morphing element. I want to see how Amy Jo Johnson has taken this brand and gone with this whole thing. Has she ignored a lot of the kind of lore, or is she just doing it because she wants to make fans happy? Who knows? That's what I'm kind of more interested in. But yeah, I just want other Rangers to get the spotlight. I'm bored now. I'm bored of Mighty Morphing being a thing, you know. But yeah, as a comic book collector, I'm picking up pretty much all the issues. Again, feeding that whole thing of like, oh my god, this must be amazing. It's not. But yeah, I think I figured out this whole code. Again, there are some good things coming out. I feel like a lot of companies are lazy and want to play it safe because they don't want to lose money. They don't want to be like, oh shit, we're not making as much. But you're kind of turning your back on the rest of the fandom. I would much rather have an In Space, a Operation Overdrive, a whatever series that doesn't involve Mighty Morphing. And I would rather have that for a year or two and then maybe go back to Mighty Morphing. I want a very load of stuff. I just don't want the same, and so far that's all that we're getting. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. What are your thoughts? Do you think that I have cracked the code? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you not? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and watching. If you want to help out support the channel, hit like, favorite, comment, and subscribe, and check out all the Patreon as well as the YouTube channel memberships. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimona Cat, Kira Stanada, Micah Baldwin. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。